Alright, today I'm going to go ahead and go over how to broadcast live. It's a really great feature to have in your SAM broadcast, and it's a good feature to utilize. Alright, let me show you how to do it. Basically, you want to make sure that before you get to this point, you want to make sure your microphone's hooked up to your system, or if you're going through a mixer, make sure everything's connected correctly to your system before you get to this point for it to work. Alright, so you go into the config option. This right here gives you all the things you need to set up your microphone. Alright, if you select none on the FX destination, that means when you speak into your microphone or whatever, you may not want it to. For some reason, they say none means it's a fade only. I don't know what the purpose of that is, but you probably won't use that one. The other one is the mixer, record the pipeline. This one allows your voice to go to your encoders and also to an output, audio output. So if you got like speakers in the studio, if you don't like a live on location type thing, you got an audience and you want to kind of use the same sound that you're using for your radio station for your audience, you want to select the mixer. If you do sound card only, it skips audio pipeline. Sound card is simply just putting it out through the sound card, bypassing the encoders, and then the encoders is the same thing. It basically just bypasses the sound card. Usually what I tell people, if you it all depends on how you want to use it. I usually put it right here on mixer to make sure it comes out my output and also go to my encoder. The next part right here is your recording driver. This part is subjective. Depending on how complex your system is or how simple it is will determine how many options you have here. As a default right here, you just select whatever the recording driver you want to use in your system. Usually direct sound, I think it's the Microsoft version, but if you got something more advanced, select that one. This right here, the record sound card device, is literally where do you have the signal coming in to your system. Is it coming through a microphone input? Is it coming through like a digital input, or however you got it set up? You want to basically select it. Again, if you got a really complex system, you may have a lot of options. If you have a simple system, you may only see primary sound capture. So select the one that corresponds to where you got your signal coming in, your audio input coming in. This right here, the buffer settings, you really don't want to mess with these unless you have to. If you find that your voice is skipping a lot on your recordings and your broadcasts where it's like chopping up, then you want to come in and kind of mess with the buffer settings to adjust that, to get rid of that. This part right here deals with like the music fade. For example, it talks about how long do you want it to, how long do you want to fade. When it says fade out, it literally means like fading out into the gap where you would talk. So it's saying, do you want to take a 6-second fade where it takes 6 seconds to hit the level you want? Do you want to do it in 2 seconds, 1 second? Usually 1 second is a good amount of time. Same thing down here for the fade in. How long do you want to take for the fade in? Just select whichever one you want. And you can play with this to kind of make it work for you and your station. The other option it gives you right here is the level. How low do you want the music to go? Do you want to bring it down by like 90%? You want to bring it all the way down where you can't hear anything? You may want to do 50%. Usually 80 to 90% is a good level to where you can still hear the music, but it's not overpowering your voice when you're talking. Okay. You can have an option where you may not want the music to fade out. Maybe you want to, I don't want the music to fade out. Maybe you want to talk over the music as it's transitioning to, the next song. So if you want to do it that way, just select unselect automatically fade music, and that way when you click this button I'm going to show you next, it won't fade your music out. For the purpose of this training, I'm going to keep that box checked. Alright, you got everything set up here. Close it out. Once you do that, you got some options under EQ. If you have your microphone plugged in directly to your system, you may want to use this EQ option to make your microphone sound a little bit better. If you're using a mixer, a lot of times you'll bypass this section. The AGC, these are some really cool effects to kind of make your sound a lot better. It has the gates in there, stereo expanders, the bass EQ, processors, compressors, all that stuff. You can bypass the whole thing if you already got that stuff built into your mixer, or if you're using like a rack system. You can bypass the whole thing, or if you want, you can actually turn it on, and when you turn it on, you can basically select which options you want to use and what options you don't want to use, just by checking the corresponding boxes. Alright, it also has a pre-emphasis. This makes your sound really, really good. It gives you like a real high pitch sound on top of your microphone, so you can utilize that if you want. But all these right here, you can set it up however you want. If you have DSP plugins, you can add them here to your voice effects. Alright, once you get that done, everything's on up top. Click on the mic. Once you turn your microphone on, you're not live yet. It's just saying arm my mic, get it ready, so when I want to go live, I can. You got two options here to go live. You got one where you can push the button to talk. When you push it, you talk, and then you let it go. That's when you push that button. At that point, when you push it, you're actually live on air. Alright, the other option is lock talk. Lock talk means you don't want to keep pushing that button. You just want to go and push the button one time, talk, then once you finish, push the button again. You click that button. As soon as you click this button, you are live on air, and everybody can hear you until you push that button again. Once you push that button again, then you can go ahead and be off the air. A couple different options you have in the voice FX. You can actually adjust the level of your music right here also when you're talking. So if you find that the settings you had when you configured is a little bit still too loud, you can bring it down some more, or if it's too low, you can bring it up. Same thing with mic volume. You can turn your microphone up or down as needed. These buttons on the bottom, air and Q, is very important. You want to make sure that you're on air. Make sure that button is checked. If you're not on air and you're in Q mode, your live audience won't hear you. So that's why we'll make sure that's important. It also has a cool feature too, where you can do something like this, where if you select the speed when you talk, you can adjust the speed and make it slower or faster. Make your voice change. So if you want to have a deep voice, you know, just go to speed and bring it down, and then, you know, you can have a low voice. If you want a higher voice, go to speed and bring it up. That's a cool feature. But that is basically how you can broadcast live inside of Sam Broadcaster. Thanks for watching.